Hi everyone, it's Michaela again, and I am here with yet another speed build. I hope you're all having a great day so far. So, for this build, I am building 3 different houses on the biggest lot in Mirage Park. And this is another build that I just kind of had saving, and I didn't want to quite upload it just yet or continue editing it because I felt like I was building so many things in Del Sol Valley. So I decided to just kind of change things up and build some other things, some other houses for you guys, so it wasn't just like Del Sol Valley, Del Sol Valley, and so on and so forth. However, I decided that I should probably start uploading them here now because I mentioned this in the comments of my last part of my Let's Play, but I am getting a new computer. The computer that I have right now, it's definitely not very good, and especially lately it's been lagging a lot and being really slow, and it just hasn't been YouTube worthy. So I was blessed and was able to get a new computer. By the time this video goes out, I should have the computer, but you never know with mail. So hopefully sometime this week I'll have that up. And so since the quality of these videos has been just like average, I guess, I figured I should probably upload these because I'm assuming by the time I get my new computer I'll have like really good quality videos. So yeah, that's just a thing that's been happening. But anyways, so in this lot I am building 3 different houses. You'll see that I kind of have like an alleyway on the other side of this lot right now, and that's because originally when I was starting to build, I was just going to do 2 houses and then have an alleyway, kind of like how the lot next door has it, the lot that we can't actually use. But I ended up changing that to 3 houses because I learned by the time I was almost finished building my second house that it wasn't going to work having an alleyway because I built these houses a little too small. But I feel like that fits with Del Sol Valley, well, in Mirage Park at least. And I do have 3 different storylines for each house. And with me building 3 different houses, this video did end up being like half an hour long. But I tried to cut each house into about 10 minutes. But anyways, so the storyline that I thought of for this house was there's only 1 bedroom, so I imagine just a single person living here. I did imagine a female in my head, but I imagine that she wants to be a singer, songwriter, and she also plays guitar. So you'll see once I move on upstairs that I do have a guitar and microphone set up. And I imagine that she's just barely started in Del Sol Valley, so she doesn't have a whole lot of money yet. And I imagine that she would be the person that would use, what's that setup that we got in City Living? That you could like go out in the community lot and like play for tips or something. But anyways, I imagine that she would have that and probably go out to Starlight Boulevard to try to get some extra fame and also some tips because she needs that. And I imagine that she would also be pretty stubborn and wouldn't want to get like a real job, and because she really wants to be a singer, and she decided to move to Del Sol Valley so she could further pursue that career. So right now I'm just working on the kitchen. I tried to make things pretty small in these houses, and that definitely worked for this house right here. It is pretty small. It does have a dining room though, next door to the kitchen, so I mean, I guess that's a plus. Not every house or apartment does have those dining rooms. I do have a friend, he, in his apartment, is so tiny, like it's 1 bedroom. The bedroom size is pretty decent, I guess. But his living room is literally just like a living room, and his kitchen is so tiny. And so he doesn't even have room for a dining room table, which would really bug me, because I'm the type of person that doesn't really like eating on the couch, just because you get food everywhere, or at least I end up doing that. But anyways, so over here, I'm just working on the living area. It's just pretty basic, just a few couches and then a TV and just a few other decorations around. And I do think that the sim that lives here would probably be watching maybe like the music channels just to try to get that inspiration so that way she can write her own songs. And I also imagine that she might be the type of person that would upload videos of her singing on YouTube, or I guess it's called like SimTube or something like that in The Sims. Although she doesn't have the video set up because I wanted her focus to be on focusing on her singing skills and guitar skills. So there's that. And then the dining room ends up being pretty tiny, just room for a table and some chairs. And I put some decorations up as well. I tried not to go too terribly crazy with all the decorations because I do imagine that the sim that lives here definitely wouldn't have a whole lot of money. And I imagine that the furniture she does get would be given to her from like her parents or something, especially some of those bigger items. Or I imagine that she would just take things from home too, like from her bedroom. I don't know if that's like a normal thing that people do, but every time that I had come back home while I was in college, my mom would always tell me like, oh, you should go take this piece of furniture or this piece of furniture or anything like that. But like, she always wants me to take my dresser, but my dresser is, first of all, full of stickers, because when I was little, I just always put stickers on there. And then also, it's this yellow and like turquoisey teal color, which, I mean, cute when you're a kid, but as an adult, I want something more neutral and something that'll match my bedroom a little bit more. But, and it's also kind of breaking apart. I'm pretty sure I've had this dresser since I was like born, probably before I was born. At least I know I've always had it since I've been like remembering things. But anyway, so over here I'm working on the bathroom. I did originally have it a little bit bigger, but I wanted the hallway to be not as narrow. So I ended up making it really, really small. It literally has room for the shower, a toilet, and then the sink, and just that really narrow place for Sims to walk. So, but I feel like that's realistic. I mean, let's see, my bathroom is really tiny. My mom's bathroom is really tiny. I'm pretty sure every like starter home I've ever been in has had really small bathrooms. So I guess there adds that realism in there. And the windows I was using for this build are windows I haven't really used in builds before. I usually tend to go for the same style in a lot of my builds, so I'm trying to branch out and try to think like, okay, what would work in this type of build, or what would work in this type of build. And I think it's been going pretty well for me so far. And then in this area, I did end up putting a microphone and guitar there. There wasn't much room in her bedroom, so I just put it in the hallway area. Since she does live alone, she doesn't have to worry about like disrupting any roommates or anything. And since it is in a house, not an apartment, she doesn't even have to worry about annoying her neighbors. Which, if you ever have lived in apartments and you have neighbors, is so annoying because, one time my sim was sleeping and then her neighbors came over angrily telling her that she was making too much noise. Like, I don't know if she was apparently snoring or something, but I don't know. It was really annoying. And what also was annoying was at the same time that sim was, I don't think they were partying, but there was another time that my neighbor was, like, or my sim's neighbor was partying, and then they got mad at me for like playing music or something. I don't know. Apartments are fun, guys. And so back here, I just wanted to make a little patio area, and I tried to make sure to include a mailbox and also a big trash can in each of these houses. And so over here, I'm working on the second house, and I tried to make them obviously different, but also like pretty similar in style. I got some of the inspiration around where I live. There's this road. It's like a busier road. But they have a bunch of houses really close to each other. And so I always look. I mean, I feel like now that I built so much in The Sims, I just look at houses in general. Like, okay, how does that roof look? Or how does this house look? I don't know. Is that normal? Do you guys do that? Am I just weird? I don't know. So I was trying to go with similar looks, but also different in how they look too. I don't know. And so I went with kind of crazy colors of these houses. Like the first house is red. This one is this green color. But I don't know. I like the way that they ended up. And so the backstory for this house was I actually imagined an adult age sim lives here. And she's a struggling writer. And so I've imagined that she does have a few books out there, but they haven't been quite popular enough. They haven't met any bestseller list or anything. And I imagine that she probably is one to self-publish versus do traditional publishing because she just wasn't getting anyone to take her books, unfortunately. So in this house, there are 2 bedrooms and she also has an office. And she has the second bedroom upstairs because this is when it kind of gets sad, guys. So I imagine that her sister had something happen to her. Maybe she passed away or some sort of tragic accident happened to her sister. But her sister has this teenage son. So since the son is still a teenager and can't live by himself, obviously, he lives with the sim that lives in this house right here. So now she has to take on the responsibility of taking care of a child. I mean, a teenager, but still a child. Which would be really, really hard. I mean, one of my cousins, she never had kids of her own. And when she started dating her current boyfriend, and my cousin's a lot older than me, she's in her 40s. But when she started dating her current boyfriend, actually I think my fiance, but whatever. He has a daughter. She's now a teenager, but when they first got together, she was like 12, 11, something like that. So then suddenly she had to take on the responsibility of being a stepmom while never being any type of parent before. And I feel like that would just be pretty hard to handle sometimes, you know? Like you never don't know how to be a parent and then all of a sudden you're put into the situation. And I think it's different when you give birth yourself because then obviously you're watching the kid grow up from by the time it leaves the womb until whenever it basically for its entire life. Or if you are a stepmom or a stepdad and you like get your stepchild, does that even make sense? I don't know, but like when your stepchild is still like a younger age, then I feel like that would be a little bit easier too because then you still are learning kind of with them. But like in my cousin's situation, like getting like a 12-year-old, that would be tough. Now, speaking from experience of being in classrooms of basically age 12 and up, like that is such like a weird age because when you're in middle school, you're like changing, things are changing in your body and also emotionally, like there's just so much hormones going on. And you know, teenagers can be sucky sometimes, let me tell ya. You know, I had a student once, she snapped at me. She snapped at me a couple of times. I won't get into details of like what she snapped about, just because I don't want to like be too personal with that. But it was for really dumb reasons. And me being like super sensitive and super emotional, it kind of got to me too much. So, but you know, I'm working on it. I'm just a very sensitive person and I cry a lot. It's fine. It's normal, you know. I don't know. I blame the anxiety inside of me. So, anyways, back to the build. Right here, I'm just putting the kitchen. I'm pretty sure this is the only kitchen that has a dishwasher. But I imagine since the sim is in her adult stage of life, I figured that maybe she does have a little bit extra money so she could afford something like that. And I put a food bowl there too because I imagine that she would have a cat. And I kind of modeled this sim after me because I want to write books and I also really enjoy cats. And I feel like the two kind of go hand in hand together. And then over here I put a dining room, which is I feel like is kind of a weird placement because it goes like you go in the kitchen and then the dining room. Maybe it's not actually weird. I do end up changing the wallpaper though, I believe, because I wasn't quite feeling the pink in there. And I feel like the sim that lived here probably wouldn't want that either. Although I do imagine that these 3 houses would be rented houses, even though you can't do that in The Sims. But I imagine that that's what they would be. So probably wouldn't be able to actually paint over it. But it's a game. You can do whatever you want. So it's fine. But so over here, I just make like the little living space area. And then I do give her a fireplace, which I think is always really nice. I do enjoy having fireplaces in all of my builds, even though that doesn't actually happen. And I do put a little cat perch next to it, which my first thought of that was, okay, that probably seems kind of dangerous. But then I was thinking about my cat, and my cat always likes to sit like right next to our heater. We have like a radiator heater, and it gets pretty hot. And my cat will literally stick her nose on it, and I always try to make her move, and she'll move at first. She gets really mad about it, but she'll move, but then she goes right back to it. So I don't know. I'm convinced that one day she's gonna catch on fire, but I've been trying to teach her not to. And I have a spray bottle, but I can't spray her when she's next to the heater because that just seems dangerous. But anyways, my cat just really likes heat. We did have a little greenhouse once, back in my last apartment, and so I had like a bunch of heat in there, and we closed it off because she wasn't allowed to go in there because there's plants in there, and also plants that were toxic for her to have. But so we closed it off, and I didn't think she could get in there. And then one time I fell asleep on the couch, and I got woken up because I just heard a ruckus in the room. And I was just like, what's going on? And my cat was literally inside this greenhouse. I don't know how she got in there. I don't know, it was crazy. And then one time we moved all the plants outside of the greenhouse, and we had it was like a heater lamp type of thing in there, and she was literally just chilling, just taking a nap down there. It's fine. And then our blinds were open a little bit, and I just hear one of my neighbors outside, because we also had the window open a little bit too to let some air in, and I just hear my neighbor say, "Guys, look at that cat." So I don't know, my cat's a kooky little thing. But anyway, so right now I'm just working now on the bathroom. I did just work on the Sims little office area, and so I just have like the computer, and I also put some clutter in that room, and also some bookshelves. And I'm assuming you guys are paying more attention to the build than me talking, then you had already seen that. And then I think there's 3 bathrooms altogether in this house. There might only be 2. I can't remember on the top of my head. But I do put a washer and dryer in this house. There is not a washer and dryer in the other house, unfortunately. But, I feel like, are there washer and dryers in every starter home? I feel like there wouldn't be. But, I don't know. I haven't lived in enough places. Like, I've only lived in like one actual real house. I've always lived in apartments otherwise. But I guess when we first moved into this house, there wasn't a washer and dryer right away. We had to go buy one. We did have the hookups though, so that was good. And then I just cut out me struggling to figure out the floor plan for upstairs a little bit, because it was quite a struggle. And so the bigger room is the aunt's room, the adult Sims room. For obvious reasons, she's the adult in the house, so she does get the master bedroom. And her bedroom is just pretty basic. I feel like she wouldn't really care about what her room looks like, especially since she does struggle with money a little bit. Which I feel like if you're struggling with money, you probably shouldn't live in Del Sol Valley. You should probably live somewhere cheaper. But sometimes you can't really help where you live. So I also understand that. And so I definitely put some books next to her on one of her little side tables, because, I mean, if you like writing, then you probably like reading as well. And if you're a writer, then reading is definitely helpful, because you learn so much when you read. Because, I mean, growing up, or just a lot of people in general, they read like a reader, so they don't really think about it. But after taking so many creative writing classes in college, I have learned that there is so much more to reading, because then you start to read like a writer and like focus on like the techniques that authors use. I don't know. Obviously, it's interesting to me, but anyways. So yeah, I do end up putting a bathroom, an ensuite bathroom for the sim in this bedroom, which I feel like was a little bit fancy, but I also think it worked out. I think for the third house as well, I also put a walk-in bathroom for one of the bedrooms over there. But we'll get to that once we get to that house. And then just not much to talk about this bathroom. I do end up putting a bathtub and a shower in there, which at this point. And then over here, I am working on the teenage son's bedroom. I imagine that he might be, a little bit, I would imagine he would obviously be depressed and also be maybe a little bit of a rebel. So I imagine that would be pretty hard for his aunt to learn how to kind of deal with. Because especially if you haven't been a parent before, trying to figure out okay, what do I do with this kid? Who's I've known him all my life, but I don't know. And I did give him that sketch pad, digital sketch pad next to his desk, because I imagine that he might want to be a graphic designer or something like that. And I did put a bunch of shelves in this room, and I do end up putting a lot of the debug stuff in there, which I thought was pretty cool. And I put some of school books in there, because obviously as a teenager he does have to go to school, and I do think that he would want to drop out of school, but I think his aunt would help him just stay back on track, even though his aunt does kind of struggle with this whole new kind of parenting type of situation she's in. I do imagine that they would still be pretty close. And so right now I'm just going through the debug menu and trying to figure out what I can put up there, and it took a long time, so I kind of cut everything out. And I also imagine that he would be kind of a nerdy little kid too. So I tried to put a bunch of action figures, which remind me of those pop figure things, if you know what I'm talking about. I have some Harry Potter ones. I have some Harry Potter ones. I also have an Elsa one from Frozen, and I have a Deadpool one, which is pretty nice. And then I'm moving on to, I guess, what would be the son's, or I guess nephew's bathroom. And so this one, again, basic, just has a shower, toilet, sink, all the necessities that you need for a bathroom. And then I tried to add a little bit more decoration too as well. So I put a little mat, because it is so nice to step on the mat when you get out your shower. And then I also put the little organizer thing, which I think is really cute, and something that pretty much every bathroom needs, I feel like. And then over here, I'm just working on the backyard. I think it's at this point that I realized, okay, I'm going to need to put another house over there. So I did make the fences, so it kind of made even the front yards a little bit more private. So, I don't know, just for privacy of their neighbors. And I didn't do too much to this backyard. I pretty much just had a little fire pit and everything. I imagine that the sim that lives here, that she probably wouldn't really care about the backyard. And I also imagine that the son probably wouldn't go outside much either. And so anyways, now I am working on the third house. And on this house, there are 3 bedrooms. And I imagine that they would be young adults. And I imagine that they would be a college-aged young adults. I do think that they all would be enrolled in a university, which unfortunately we do not have university, but hopefully that will be upcoming this year. That's one of my wishes for The Sims 4 of 2019 at least. But I imagine that there would be one girl, and I imagine that she would be not the owner of this house, because I do imagine that they would be renting, but I did give her the master bedroom that does have the ensuite bathroom. And, which now that I think about it, because there's one girl and then 2 guys, so that would make sense, give the girl her own bathroom, and then the guys can share the other bathroom, because I don't know, sometimes boys can be gross in their bathroom, just saying. But, so I imagine that she eventually wants to be a director. So I give her the video station in her bedroom, because I figured maybe that's a good start. I don't know. It was kind of giving me some Shane Dawson vibes. If you watched him back in the day, I watched him when I was in high school, like in 9th grade or something. And then he had like those super cool, like really nice videos that looked like they're more professional. I do like his videos now too, especially his conspiracy theories. I'm a little bit obsessed with those. But anyway, so I kind of modeled her character after him. And then I really like how this kitchen ended up too. Again, I made it pretty small, but I mean, if you have a small house, then you probably have a small kitchen as well. Which is unfortunate for the second sim, because I imagine that he wants to be a chef when, I guess he's already kind of grown up, but like he wants to be a chef when he grows up. So in his room, I modeled it after that. And then for the third sim that lives in this house, I imagine that he wants to be a professional athlete. So I imagine that he would be a type of person that is in college sports right now. And I wasn't quite sure what type of sport I really thought of him in. I thought maybe he was interested in soccer. Maybe he plays that just on his own time. But for like terms of college, he plays baseball for his college. And then I finally put this really old looking TV. I had TVs like this when I was little, versus now they're like all flat screen. But I never put this old looking TV anywhere. But I feel like it was quite fitting for this house, especially with having 3 broke college students. Because come on, college is expensive. And then I had to change things a little bit in the layout. So right there was going, well, not right here, but on next to the kitchen was going to be a dining room. But then with how I had it before, I think there was only going to be like 1 bathroom, which wasn't really going to work out, because I feel like if you have 3 bedrooms, you should at least have 2 bathrooms. Although I know that doesn't always happen. So anyways, right here is where I'm working on the Lady Sims bedroom. I just have like the little video station, and I try to decorate her background so that way when she is filming, then she can have a cool background. I also gave her a drone, which I totally forgot existed. So I might have to incorporate using a drone in my Let's Play. So maybe that will start happening pretty soon. I'm also speaking about my Let's Play. I will be filming more episodes of those once I get my new computer, because the lag is real. Like the last time I was filming an episode, oh my gosh. I'm going to comment on this or I guess I've already commented on this on my last Let's Play video. I record really early. I do a lot of pre-recording. But yeah, it's just a struggle. But anyways, so now I'm just working on her bathroom, and I do make both of the bathrooms pretty similar, because I feel like that's a normal thing, right? Like I feel like my bathroom is pretty similar to my mom's bathroom. Although with my bathroom, like the mirror is so far away, which is really unfortunate because I wear glasses, and when I don't wear my glasses, I cannot see anything. Like I can see up close, but when the mirror's so far away, that's not up close. So I have to literally sit on my counter to do my makeup. So that's fun. But like my mom's bathroom, it's not so far away, which is really annoying. Especially when we get ready at the same time, so we can't like really both be in the bathroom at the same time. But anyways, ready time is over. Now I'm working on the future chef's bedroom. I was originally going to put that jar of olives right there, but then I decided not to, because I felt like that was really weird. Like, why would someone just have a jar of olives in his bedroom? But I do put a bunch of books in his room, because I imagine that he would have a lot of cookbooks. So I do put the cookbooks on the side of his computer, but I also want to have more books in there too. And I imagine that he might want to make or write his own cookbook one day too. And so I just put a few clutter items, and then I give him a dresser. I imagine that he would be a neat sim, and this dresser just screams neatness to me. I don't know why. And then also along with wanting to write a cookbook, I also think that he would want to run his own restaurant one day. So I put that fish poster thing on the background on one of the walls. because I imagine that he would want to maybe have like a seafood restaurant or something like that. And then I also put the chalkboard menu thing up there because maybe he's trying to create his own menu one day. I don't know. And so now I'm working on the third bedroom, and this is the sportsy guy. And so I just put some posters on the wall. There isn't too many posters next to his bed, but I also feel like that's pretty average too. I feel like a lot of people don't always decorate their walls. I don't know. I've always been the type of person that always wants everything decorated. When I was like 8, we always had the book fairs at my elementary school, and every single time I would go get a poster. At one point, I'm pretty sure I had no space on my walls. I had posters of like dogs and cats. I don't know, it was really weird. And then I realized that there was no dining room in this build, so I just put a random huge kitchen table just in the middle of the room right there. But, I felt like it kind of worked too. But it probably isn't a good idea to have carpet on underneath it, but, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. And then in the little entry room, I just put this little side table down. And I also put some laundry soap right there because this house, I was not able to fit a laundry room in there. I was originally trying to fit one in there, but it just wasn't working. So I imagine that they would probably have to go to a laundromat somewhere, wherever that potentially exists, And I also imagine that both the guys that live in here are in a fraternity together. So when I start working on the backyard, I do put just like I put like a fire pit, which I did put that in another house. And I also put or made like an above ground pool, which I thought, I don't know, I really like making above ground pools. I really want them to add that one day, but maybe not. I'm not really counting on that because there's so many other things I want. I don't know. So I made that, and I put a lot of dirt underneath, and I also put some grass and stuff, because if you have anything heavy on a piece of grass, it's gonna turn into dirt, basically. That's what I've noticed. And I also put a bunch of like overgrowth around everywhere. I imagine that maybe this pool had just been there for a really long time. And since I did imagine two fraternity brothers in here, I imagine that maybe it's been passed down from like fraternity brother to fraternity brother. I don't know. So I imagine that maybe they would have some get-togethers. And I'm not saying that fraternities just party. I was in a sorority in college. Like, they're really not just about parties. So if you're somewhere where a Greek life isn't like a big thing, just know that it's not all about the parties. They also do a bunch of great things. But in this situation, I do imagine that they would probably invite some people over and have some drinks or something like that. Or maybe they just want to hang out. Yeah, and then they have the girl that lives there too, which I thought that was an interesting situation kind of going on there. And so right here, I made sure to add some cars onto every single lot. And the thing about this lot, there's 3 driveways that go up. So I feel like you kind of need to have 3 different houses here. Like, I don't understand this lot whatsoever. I feel like it could have been 3 separate lots, but anyways, so that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed watching me build and also listening to me ramble. Please give this video a like. Please subscribe for more Sims 4 content, and I will see you all tomorrow.